Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Punaktu Saviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavate Namastu Mavidvishavai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sudra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Page number 24. Today happens to be Saturday and therefore MULAVIDYA-NIRASA, 24th page, the last paragraph. Taditam nasti tamasaha pratyakshata. Darkness is not a pratyaksha. It is not something that you see through the eyes. It is only the absence of light. It is not a presence of something. It is not a positive something. It's not positive ignorance. It's not a presence of something. It is only absence of light. It is not a presence of something. It is absence of light. Therefore, tasmat tamaha pashyami iti. And therefore, the world says, tasmat pashyami iti loka vyavaharasya mukyatvam anupattehe. The primary meaning of I see the darkness. I see the darkness means you can keep the eyes open, closed also, and then say, I see the darkness. You can also say, but you don't see darkness because in order to see something, you require light. Darkness cannot be seen, and therefore darkness is not a. I see darkness is only something. There is no primary meaning. It has only aupacharika. Aupacharika means upachara. Prayoga iti aupacharika prayoga iti mantavyam. It should be thought of as aupacharika. Aupacharika means upachara as a secondary sense. In the secondary sense, it's not tangible. It's not tangible. The avidya, darkness is not tangible. It's not something that is tangible. That is the word. Yattu prakasha ajanya rupi dravya sakshatkar janakamapi bhavitum chakshu. Chakshu can see what cannot be illumined by the sun also. What cannot be illumined by the sun is also the eyes can see. Iti MULAVIDYA says. Eyes can also see. Eyes can check. I can see. Eyes can see. Eyes can see. What is without the light also? Why not we say that? Why not we say that? For example, darkness. Darkness eyes see. It is not something that can be seen. The darkness can be seen by the light. The darkness is not seen by the light. The darkness is dispelled by the light, but you don't see darkness through the light. Therefore, bhavitum arhati chakshuhu. Rupi dravya grahake, just as the sound hearing is a sound hearing the sound. It is not something. You don't require the light in order to hear the sound. And the chakshu also is an indriyam. It is a sense organ like the ear. The sound you don't hear. By MULAVIDYA says, the sound, in order to hear the sound, you don't require the light. In the same manner, chakshu also doesn't require the light in order to see the darkness. Why not we say like that? And chakshu is a sense organ. And Twagendriyam also is a sense organ. Touch, for example. Even though touch is something, skin is a sense organ, but yet you don't require light in order to feel the touch, or in order to feel the sound, and therefore they are also sense organs, and chakshu is also sense organ, and in the same manner chakshu also doesn't require any light to see the darkness. Why not we say like that? Iti MULAVIDYA thinks. MULAVIDYA says Tanna, and then the Siddhanta says that's not ठीक है, वो ठीक नहीं है. रूपी द्रव्य ग्राहक इंद्रियत्वाद त्वगिंद्रियस्य अदिति तन्न यथा हि रूपी द्रव्य ग्राहकत्व अयोग्यत्वेपि योग्यत्वेपि, even though the feeling of touch you can feel, the skin can feel the touch of the what is there, but it is true, rupi dravyam, but it doesn't have, it cannot know the form, as well as the eyes can know the form. The Twagendriya, Twag means the skin, the sense of touch, the sense of touch cannot feel the touch, cannot feel the form, with the look of the thing, as much as the eyes can see. And therefore, this is no example. Tatha na bhavati chakshur viषय. We are talking about only the rupa grahana. Rupa grahana sthale eva aloka apeksha. Only when it's to see the form, the light is required. Kena kim sangatam. Kena kim sangatam means how we are talking irrelevantly. Hey, MULAVIDYA-NIRASA, you are talking irrelevantly. Kim kena sangatam. You are talking irrelevantly. You are giving an example of the sense organ, which cannot see the form. If there can be, if you can see something without the light also, then you can say. But you can see that you can't see the light. Human beings cannot see the light, cannot see any object without the light, and they can't see darkness also, and therefore you are talking irrelevantly. The Siddhanti says to Mula Vidyavadi thinks darkness is not tangible, darkness is not material in nature, and therefore Kim Kena, and you are giving an example of the Twagendriya, and just as the Twak, the sense of touch, is something is used to feel the touch, but the look of it, only the Chakshus can see, not the Twagendriyam. Twagendriyam. Only the Chakshu can see the look of it. And therefore, you are giving unnecessarily. Tasmatu na abhavato anupannu tamasaha. Therefore, the darkness is not, it's not illogical to say it is only abhav. It is only the light's abhav. Uh, the absence of the light is called what is called the darkness. The absence of light is called darkness. The presence of it's not a presence of something. Avidya doesn't mean it's a presence of it's not a tangible something. It is something that is intangible. Intangible means it is not something that is not tangible. Avidya is not tangible. It is only vidya abhava. Vidya abhava, the absence of light only. The absence of light only is darkness. The absence of knowledge is called ignorance. Ignorance is not a tangible thing. It is not a material thing. Therefore, the absence of light is called darkness. In the same manner, the absence of knowledge is what is called ignorance. Ignorance cannot be tangible. Ignorance is not tangible. It is not a material thing. Ignorance means the absence of knowledge only. Just as darkness is not tangible, it is only something. There is the absence of light. In the same manner, now the darkness is not, it's not illogical to say that it is only the absence of light. Guna kriyavatva bhrantistu. When it comes to, when you see, when you take the guna kriya vachatvam, yavat bhrantistu, guna kriya, the quality, and you see, supposing you take the body as limited, you take yourself with a limited body, and the body being limited, body is the only thing that makes you feel limited, and just as you see in the mirror, the guna kriya, that is all due to Pratibimba eva upadhikritaha na viruddhyate iti anyat. This is something bhranti that when what is in the mirror is broken, and therefore the image also looks reflection also looks broken, and therefore and the quality of the reflection changes as per the mirror as per the mirror, and then that is upadhi means what it reflects, and therefore this is something else, अन्यमेव विरुध्यते न विरुध्यते इति इति अन्यत् अलम्ब विवादेन, and therefore it is enough of विवादेन, enough of argumentation तमसः न भावत्व विषये. In the matter of tangibility of darkness, it is enough of argumentation. We have argued enough, you have argued enough, and now you don't have to argue. We don't have to argue. Enough vivadena, unnecessary argument we are making. There is no use of bhajya badaka bhava rupa virodastu. Bhajya badaka rupa bhavastu virodastu. One is the negator, the other is the negated. They can be taken. They can be the bhava of the vidya, the bhava of the light is when it comes, the abhava of the light is gone, and therefore there is bhajyavadaka bhava, the negated relationship. That kind of virodha is there. In the bhava of the light, the abhava of the light is gone. The abhava of the absence of the light is gone. In the presence of the light, and therefore there is a bhajyavadaka bhava. Bhajyavadaka bhava means the negated relationship. The negated relationship is not there, is there between them. You can't say the negated is the presence. The negated is the absence only. When you have the light, when the light is gone, it all looks darkness. Doesn't mean it is a tangible thing. It is not a presence of something. It is only absence of light, and therefore विरोधस्तु तमः प्रकाशयोः प्रत्यक्ष सिद्धः इति न केनापि युगपद एकत्र सहाभाव शक्य शङ्कः sahabhava, and therefore the light and darkness cannot exist together in the same space. It can't occupy the same bit of space. Whatever the light occupies, the same bit of space is not occupied by the darkness also, and therefore sahavasthanam is not possible. Sahavasthanam means the staying together is not possible. They cannot stay together. The light and darkness cannot stay together. The same space where the light occupies, the same space is not occupied by darkness. You don't see that. Therefore, darkness is not something which is tangible. Darkness is only absence of light. Evam chaya tapyo tathacha upadhitam adastat. In the same manner, we have tasmat naisha drishtantaha. Therefore, this is no drishtantaha. This is no example. Whatever example you have given is no example. Upadhitam adastat. And in the same manner, we have given adastat. Adastat means pale given. Evam chaya tapayoho. Similarly, the heat and cold, chaya tapayoho. You can't have any chaya tapayoho, sitoshnayoho, sita and ushna. They are only the sita is only the absence of ushnata. Sita is only the absence of ushnata. The sahavasthanam is not there. Nastyeva sahavastitihi. Avastitihi sahavastitihi means not there. Heat is the presence of something. Heat is presence. Cold is shaityam is only absence of ushnata. And therefore, in the same manner, sahavastitihi is not possible. Chayayam tavad aushna darshane chaya tapayor ekatra sthitihi iti ayuktam. Their being together is not possible. Atapasya samsthanantaratvat. The heat is at one place and cold is at another place. It can't occupy the same bit of space is not occupied by the cold and also by the heat. And the same bit of space is not occupied by both of them. They may be next to each other. That is different. But then the next to each other is different from the same space being occupied. It is not the same bit of space is not occupied by the cold also. Nachasti छायायाः आतपस्य संस्थानान्तरत्वम् औष्ण्यस्य स्थानविशेषेण आतपो नाम the sanstana vishesha, a particular place is occupied by Mushnata. Nachasti Chayayaha Shaitya Dharma Avasayaha Yena Shitoshnayoha Syad Sahabhavaha. So you can't say Chaya is not a positive thing, and therefore just as Chaya in the absence of something, in the absence of Chaya is also shade. Shade is also absence of light only. Absence of light. In the absence of light, there is only shaityam, and you can't say you can't. There is no equation between abhava and shaityam. Bhava and shaityam. There is no equation between bhava and shaityam. Bhava and chaya. Bhava and chaya. Bhava and chaya is not. There is no equation between the chaya and the bhava. Bhavam of shaityam. Shaityam is not bhavam. It is abhava pushruta. Shaityam is not equated with any bhava. Shaityam is not. Shaityam also is absence of heat. And therefore, in Sritoshnayoho Syadapi Sahabhava. Therefore, they don't exist together. Chayayaha api Tamovada avastutvat. Shade also, the chaya also is not tangible like the darkness. Chaya, the shade also is not is also not tangible like darkness. Darkness is not tangible. Tangible means that it can be touched. It is not a presence of something. It is only absence of light. Because you don't see, in order to see something, some objects, you require light. When there is no light, you can't see, and it looks as though the eyes are seeing darkness. These eyes are not seeing. When the presence comes, from this presence point of view, you think of the absence. These objects, like in sleep, you don't you see as though when you wake up, you think of these objects were not there. These objects were not there means in sleep also. Actually, in sleep, these objects were not there, you say. That means the absence is thought of when the presence is seen. When the presence is seen, the absence is thought of. When the presence is seen, the absence is thought of. You don't experience any absence. At the time, when you talk about the anubhava, you only talk about the anubhava. When you talk about the anubhava experience, you don't have the thought of the presence of an object. You don't have the thought of the absence of an object, and therefore because there is no thought of a presence or absence, and therefore you alone are there. In sushupti, you are alone are there, and therefore it is advaitam. And therefore but then from the waking point of view, you are ignorant. But from the anubhava point of view, there is no ignorance. When you wake up, you identify with the body, that is called ignorance and bhranti, sense of limitation, etc. And therefore, in the same manner here also, kincha shetam, ushnam iticha, shetam and ushnam, paraspara vyavrutta, shetam and ushnam, the heat and cold, they just exclude one another. They exclude one another. Vyavrutta swabhavatvat. Vyavrutta means they exclude one another. Heat and cold exclude one another. And therefore, there is no paraspara vyavruta swarupa vastu dvaya vachaka shabda. These two, heat and cold, when we say, they are excluding words. Each excludes the other. वक्तुमेव न शक्यते. अपेक्षा वशादेक एव अस्य वस्तुनः उभयवाच्यदर्शनात्. In fact, it is the same thing. They are not two things. The presence of the heat is the presence of the heat alone is called by the two words. The absence of the heat is called shaityam. The presence of the heat is what is called heat. The absence of the heat is called shaityam. In this manner, they exclude one another. The presence and absence exclude one another, like the light and darkness. That it is only the light that is called, the light's presence is light, and the light's absence is darkness. Darkness is not something which is a tangible thing. Darkness is not a presence of something. It is only absence of light. It is not a presence of something. In the same manner, heat and cold also are only presence and absence of something. Presence of heat is heat. The absence of heat is called the cold, and therefore we have the minus degrees, etc. And therefore we have the temperature. We have the temperature. When the temperature is high, then the heat is there. When the temperature is less, then the cold is there. Therefore, they are not two presence of things. Heat's absence is called cold.
Virtual complement.
Hmm?
Virtual complement.
They are not complementary. Their absence.
Virtual complement.
No. You are thinking of something else. They are not complementary. There is not there is a viroध. There is bhadya badaka bhava.
Yeah, but when I say virtual, it actually amounts to.
No. Virtual or literal. It is not true. There is a bhadya badaka bhava. There is bhadya badaka bhava means negated relationship. The heats, when the heat comes, the absence of the heat is gone. In the presence of the heat, the absence of the heat is gone. The cold is gone means the absence of the heat is gone. When the heat is gone, when the heat comes, the absence of the heat is gone. Just as when the light comes, the absence of the light is gone, and therefore the darkness. Similarly, when vidya comes, the absence of vidya is gone. Avidya is gone. Ignorance is gone. Ignorance is not a tangible thing. When you say that I don't know French, what do you mean? It's not a tangible ignorance. I do not know. I do not know means there is no knowledge of me. There is no knowledge of French. That is what it means. And therefore, Bhavatvaido Yathatada. Let it be as it is. Whatever it is presence, it is not presence of something. It is only absence of it is only absence of heat. And therefore, एक अपेक्षया यद्भवति उष्णमिति तदेव वस्तुअन्तरपेक्षया शीतमिति भवति. The same heat is considered to be both heat, and the absence of the heat is called shaityam. Bhavatu idam yathatha. So let it be so, let it be whatever it is. But tathapi yatra yada buddhi ushnamiti. When the buddhi is there, this is hot. When the Ushnam is there, when the heat is there, this is heat, this is hot. That thought is there. The same at the same time, in the same space, the same bit of space. Tatraiva tadaiva na utpadyate. Tadaiva na utpadyate. Kasashit shitamiti. Iti buddhi. And then you can't have two thoughts. Shitamiti buddhi. Wherever you feel that it is hot, at the same time you can't have the thought that it is cold also. You can't have. It is hot and it is cold. They are not complementary. They are negated. The presence of the heat negates the absence of the heat. The presence of the heat negates the absence of the heat. And therefore there is no avidya also, ignorance also is not a tangible thing. Ignorance is only an absence of knowledge. And in the same manner, avidya is not a presence of something, it's not a tangible something, it is absence of light only, absence of knowledge only. Now utpadite kasya sitamiti. तस्मात् दृष्टान्तः शीतोष्णव्यवहारोऽपि शीतोष्णव्यवहारेऽपि विरुद्धयोः सहावस्थाने तस्मात् अनुभवविरुद्धमिदम्. This is against our experience. What is Mula Vidyavadi says? Mula Vidyavadi says it is tangible. Ignorance is tangible. Our Siddhartham says it is not tangible. It is only avidya bhava. Therefore, tasmad anubhava viruddhamidam mitaha. Together, viruddha swabhavayoho vidya vidyayoho eka vishaya विद्या विद्योः आत्मैक विषयोः एकाश्रयता एकाश्रयता उत्प्रेक्षणम. Therefore, this imagination of vidya and avidya stay together is wrong. Vidya and avidya cannot stay together. Knowledge and knowledge, the presence of knowledge and the absence of knowledge cannot. You can't have the two. You can't have two thoughts at the same time. What is one thought is presence of knowledge, and the other thought is absence of knowledge, and you can't have two opposite thoughts. And therefore, in the same mind, you can't have two thoughts. I have the knowledge and I have the ignorance also. If you know something, then you can't say that I am ignorant of something. Like a scientist who thinks that he is a scientist and he has invented something, like a Newton has discovered the law of gravitation, and then the law of gravitation knowledge he had, and therefore you can't say I am ignorant of that gravitation. He himself, you can't say he has both the thoughts, the knowledge of a thought of knowledge and the thought of ignorance, together staying in the same mind. The one who has knowledge has no ignorance, and therefore ignorance is the presence of knowledge is negation of absence of the negation of the absence of the knowledge, the negation of the absence of knowledge. That is called the negation of the presence of ignorance. It's not a presence of something. It is what you call the negation of ignorance is that when the knowledge comes in, negation of ignorance is negated. When we say, it means only the absence of knowledge is gone. And that is what you have to think. Thank you very much. पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. See, we have to understand that Mula Vidya, avidya is not a tangible thing. This is all that you have to understand. Even though it is a very difficult text to follow, but all the students can follow one thing, that is avidya is not an absence of, is not a presence of, is not a tangible something, it's not a material something, it is only absence of knowledge is called avidya. In the presence of knowledge, the absence of knowledge is gone. And that is what is called the ignorance going. Ignorance going is nothing but something else goes away. When the knowledge comes to its absence goes away. And therefore one finds oneself with ignorance and not knowing the thing. And when the knowledge comes, the absence of knowledge goes, the ignorance goes. This much you have. It's not, ignorance is not a tangible thing. This is what you have to understand. You have to follow this one.
I had I think that I used the term of the virtual complement. It means that it is as if there's a embodiment comes in between.
एम्बॉडमेंट के बारे में नहीं बात कर रहे हैं जी.
No,
एम्बॉडमेंट के बारे में बात नहीं कर रहे हैं.
no, it is like something which becomes a boundary of.
You are talking something else. You are talking something else. नहीं जी, नहीं. It is something नहीं जी. Don't complicate the things. It is simply Bhadyabhadaka bhava. Ignorance is not a presence of something, it is only absence of knowledge. The light also is, the darkness also is presence and absence of light. Light is a light. Light, when there is a light, the absence of light goes away. When the light comes, the absence of light goes away. That is what we call darkness goes away. Means the absence of light goes away. Similarly, the heat also, heat is a presence of something. When the heat comes, the absence of heat goes away. The absence of heat goes away means the shaityam goes away. The coldness goes away. Now what do you want to say?
What was deemed being a compliment is actually virtual in the very the presence.
No, no, no.
Let me say what I have to say. See, what is deemed as a compliment is actually virtual. So, if it is virtual, that means it is its complement is not, it does not actually exist.
Uh,
The, the said complement actually does not exist.
uh,
It is thought so. It is thought to be there.
oh,
The darkness is thought to be there when it's actually absence of light,
light.
which has got termed as darkness. It's as if it is tangible, but it is not really, it's virtual.
It's not virtual also, Ji. It is not tangible at all. It is thought tangible. It is considered tangible.
The thinker it comes in between.
And
That's what I was trying to say. That the thinker who doesn't see clearly first initially, it's when he's told, then he starts feeling what he thought to be.
No, no, no. I'm explaining to you what is darkness and what is light.
Yeah.
What is darkness is not presence of something. Darkness is an absence of light. This is what I'm explaining, and that's all that you have to explain. You have to think. We are not talking about anything else. We are not talking about anything else.
Yes, but I'm only looking at it from the person who's ignorant, who has see the
He misunderstands that it is
yeah.
tangible. That is a different thing. He thinks that, but that is why we are explaining here that it is not tangible. Mula Vidyavadi thinks that it is tangible, but it is not tangible.
It's not
It is not a tangible thing. It is not a material thing. It is only absence of light. Similarly, this cold also is, shaityam also is absence of heat. Heat is a presence of something.
It's just that like how a wave, really speaking, is a notion in the very water.
Hmm.
A wave or a bhavan or whatever is a notion in the water which is all through water.
Yes.
So
Uh,
I'm just looking
that is that it is looking about, but what is that example? What do you want to say? It is water.
so we are taking the examples of anything which has to be to do with the physicality of the senses.
Physicality of the senses. Physicality of the senses is different from what I am saying, Ji. Physicality of the senses, I am explaining to you, the darkness is not a tangible thing. The darkness is the absence of darkness. The presence of darkness is only the absence of light. When the presence of light comes, the darkness goes away. That's all that I am talking. I am not saying anything else. We are not going to any other examples also. Here we have to only take one thing, that is the absence of light is called darkness, and that darkness goes away when the light comes. And similarly, avidya is nothing but the absence of knowledge. That is why it's called agrahanam, anyatha grahanam, samshaya grahanam. Anyatha agrahanam, agrahanam means absence of grahanam, anyatha grahanam, and then error, and then doubt. This is the what we call, it looks real. The Anyada Grahanam also looks real, for until a person understands. Once a person understands, Anyada Grahanam is gone. An error also looks like a reality until it is understood. Once it is understood as an error is understood as an error, then its sense of reality goes away, and therefore the sense of reality goes away, and therefore Please, you don't have to go to water example and the wave example. Wave is the error about water. And similarly, the Anyata Grahanam is an error about the fact. A fact is something that is always there. A fact is independent of the error. A fact is different from the error. When I don't see the fact as a fact, then I see the same fact as something else. When I don't see myself as I am, then I see myself as a body. And therefore, that is an error. In that error, there is a sense of limitation. And then about that error, there is a sense of reality. And there is about that error, there is a sense of externality. And therefore, that error has to be corrected. You understand? No?
Yes.
Thank you, Ji.